Hi, this is Rachelle with Scrapcraftastic, and I am working on my coastal or nautical journal. I will link in the iCard up above the beginnings of this that I did on this channel, and here I'm working on it again. I'm going through some digitals that I have printed, and I am using some wavy specialty scissors to cut the borders off of the edges. I believe these scissors are from Dollar Tree. And so I'm just trimming up some of the pages. In the previous video, I had shown some of the signature pages that I had chosen. And now I am building out my signatures a little bit more with some digitals that I purchased from Etsy. If you are interested, let me know in the comments and I will link to the shops. I know some of the papers that I'm using are from Artie Mays, and then I have a couple of other papers from other places. Also, I don't want my signatures to be too full because I want to embellish them pretty heavily, and my spine is relatively small on this journal, so I'm going to try and keep the page count down so that I can embellish. And I anticipate that this will have an alligator mouth, but I'm okay with that. This was kind of just for fun. It started out with me using papers that were sent to me in Happy Mail that had a coastal mermaid nautical feel to them, and it's kind of grown into something completely different from the beginning. Initially, I pictured a very simple, basic junk journal, and I feel like I'm going all out with this and doing a lot more than I anticipated, but I am enjoying working on it. I'm working on it in the afternoons when I have a little extra time. I'm working on it while I'm listening to audiobooks that are fun, and it just is a relaxing process for me. I'm also kind of weary of planning right now. So, working on my other interests like junk journals, art journaling, DIY, and crafts is a little more fun for me right now. The pages are different sizes because of how I printed them and because I'm cutting off the borders. I did not print them to the edge because my journal is a little smaller than A5 or half letter. So I reduced some I just cut with no with the border intact. Here I have an envelope that I'm not sure where I got this envelope from. It was printed digital from my stash, and I just thought it would go well in the journal. And I received a question about some of my kits, how to put the pieces together. This is an example of how you would fold an envelope. This one actually has lines to kind of guide you, but basically you fold all of the flaps on all four sides to create the envelope. And I just used my ruler to burnish the folds. But here I folded up the main body of the envelope and then the two tabs on each side that main body will glue to. Just doing a little trimming here. And then I fold the top flap. This is where you would seal the envelope if you were sealing it. So those two flaps on the side are actually the pieces that go inside, and you glue the main body of the main body flap to those flaps. So here I'm going through the papers that I had already started the signatures with, and I'm incorporating the new digitals that I just cut. So here I'm checking to see if there are any more of the papers that were given to me in Happy Mail that I want to use in the journal. And now that I have incorporated most of what I want in my signatures, I am measuring the height of my signature so that I can trim off any excess. And I'm just going to use my ruler as a guide to tear those pieces off. And my tearing gets a little ragged as I get deeper into the signature with tearing off the excess. So I am going to have to come in with the scissors and clean up a little bit. Also, the packing paper does not tear very well. So since it didn't tear very well, I just took the scissors and trimmed it up with that. And so here, since this piece didn't tear well, I'm going to use the wavy scissors to trim the top and bottom. And this piece was just a piece of regular copy paper, or a little heavier than copy paper, that I used to help dry some ribbon that I dyed, and it made that pattern on the paper, and I kept it to use in a future junk journal. So here I have a folder made with cardstock, and I'm going to use one of my decorative edge punches to punch the pocket. And then I'm going to come in and punch the top edge also. And this is what it looks like on the signature. So I continue putting the signatures together. It's just a variety of different papers, decorative cardstock, digitals, packing paper, all sorts of things. Once I have my signatures pretty much together and I've actually started embellishing the journal, I'm coming in to work on the cover. So here I have a piece of packaging, cardboard style packaging, and I'm using white gesso to give it that whitewashed look. And I'm using a makeup sponge that I use for something else, but it's a makeup sponge from Dollar Tree, one of those Dollar Tree packages. And I'm just kind of dry brushing it with the sponge, or dry sponging it onto the packaging. And on the desk, I have a frame that I made with cardboard, and I wrapped it with twine from the Dollar Tree. I was just sitting in the craft lab one evening, bored. I picked up the frame, I picked up the twine, and just started wrapping it. And it's coming in handy. I also used some artist tape to tape a piece of laminate in the window of the frame. So the laminate will be a window, and eventually this will be a pocket. And so here I'm using my hot glue gun. I'm not a hot glue gun person, but I am using it for this project to add the florals that I had placed on the frame. I'd already decided what layout I wanted for the florals, so I'm just putting everything in place here. And these are just paper flowers that I have in my stash from a variety of different places. The flower at the top with the jeweled center is actually a burlap flower, and I think I got it somewhere on clearance years ago. I've had it in my stash for a while. Also, I'm using a different camera setup. I initially was going to be working at my other desk, but for this part of the video, I decided to bring my webcam over to this side, and I'm working on getting it set up again so that I can do live streams. So I will be doing live streams over at Journal Life's Journey once again. I just have to finish getting my setup together. I'm working on getting the mic in order now. So hopefully within the next few days, I'll be able to go live over there. But I will be doing more videos like this because this is right now what I'm actually enjoying. So I hope you stick around and enjoy these as well. Again, I'm just working on gluing down the floral elements. And I know I did not include every step of this process, but hopefully you get the general idea of how I'm putting it together. If you want more detailed information on anything, let me know in the comments, and I'm happy to do a tutorial video on anything you may want more information on. Here I'm using some flat back pearls to add a little more glam to this piece for the cover. I'm using some of the pearls to add centers to a few of the flowers and also to decorate the wrapped frame. All right, so now I'm just going to do a little dry fitting to see what this frame is going to look like on the cover. So I'm going to use the packaging and the frame to create a pocket on the cover. So I'm adding hot glue to 3 sides of the frame, and you can see here where I use the artist tape. I did not use regular masking tape. The artist tape is a little stickier and a little stronger, so I used that to attach the laminate to the frame. And here I'm going in along 3 edges with the hot glue so that I can attach it to my corrugated, is it corrugated, piece of packaging. So I'm just pressing that down, making sure that it adheres to the piece of packaging very well. And now I'm testing the pocket to make sure that I will still be able to use that. So here I'm going to go ahead and add an eyelet to the top right corner. So I'm using my We Are Memory Keepers Crocodile to punch the hole through all of those layers. And I'm using a white eyelet to add to that frame. So still testing to make sure that my pocket is open after adding the eyelet, making sure that I can slide something down in there easily. So here's just a piece of ribbon that I've got from, I think I got that from Walmart on the clearance aisle, and I'm going to use that for the closure. This is my cover topper. I'm looking at a few pieces that I made, some digitals that I made to go with this journal. And I'm thinking of using one or more of these tags in the front pocket on the cover. Now I printed these on 2 different papers. I'm not sure that it shows well on camera on the video, but I printed on white cardstock and then a cream colored linen style cardstock. And in person it does have quite a different look. The linen cardstock is heavier than the cardstock. I think it's like a cover stock actually. So here I'm just deciding which tag I want to use in that window. And this one I'm measuring against the tag that I used to test and make sure the window was open, and they are exactly the same size, so I shouldn't have a problem with this fitting. I'm going to trim out this tag in the middle that I think is a good fit for the cover. So I'm sliding that down in there, and I think it needs to be a little stronger. The tag needs to be stronger. So I'm looking at other pieces to back it with. And that way you can turn it on either side in the window, depending on which side you prefer. So I'm cutting out another one of the tags to see how that one will look in the window as well. So, and I'm going to back the tags together and stitch around the edges to add a little strength to the tag and make it easier to slide in the pocket on the cover topper. So I'm just putting them together to see how a double tag will fit in that pocket. But I decide against the one that says the mermaid on it because some of the letters are cut off on the edge. So I am going to go with this one with the nice big piece of coral on it and the orange. I think that's going to really pop inside that pocket. So I am happy with those two tags. And I'm going to go ahead and glue them together using glue stick for the middle part of the tag, and then I'm going to go around the edge with some art glitter glue that I have in a small fine tip bottle and put the two pieces back to back. I'm using my scraper from Dollar Tree to make sure everything is adhered and all the glue is spread well and nice and flat. Here I cut up one of those makeup sponges from the Dollar Tree just to test and see how I like a smaller piece to apply ink to my edges. I think once I get the sponge more saturated, I'll like it better. But for this project, I did not have time to play around with that sponge. So I went and got my ink dauber and I'm using that to ink the edges of the tag. I'm using Tim Holtz Distress ink in Walnut Stain. So now that it's all inked, I'm going to punch a hole in the top so that I can add an eyelet and add a pull to the tag to make it easier to get in and out of the pocket. So here I want to use one of the wide eyelets. Those are my favorite eyelets to use. So I'm just playing around with a couple of the different colors that I have to see which one I prefer. So I'm going to go with the tan color. So then I thought I would add some florals to it on the back because I didn't want just that plain eyelet, the back of the eyelet showing, it's just kind of blah and not so cute back there. So I had the idea to use one of the white florals that I have. I'm just using my pokey tool to open up the hole in the center of the flower a little more so that it can fit over the eyelet. And then I'm putting it together. And after looking at it, I feel like I need a flower element on the front too, so that I just don't have those petals hanging out from the back. So I'm going to add one to the front of the tag as well. So here I'm going to take my We Are Memory Keepers eyelet setter and set the eyelet. So I think that looks pretty neat with the flowers and the eyelet. And I don't know where I missed this at, but somewhere along the line of doing this, I think right before I set the eyelet, I did go and stitch around the edge of the tag. I just did a straight stitch with black thread, and here I'm just touching up a few places where I missed with the ink prior. So that is my tag for my cover topper. Sliding it into the pocket to see how it looks. So I'm going to glue down the petals of the flowers so that they don't get caught on the edge of the pocket. So this is the same twine that I used to wrap the frame. I think these come in like a bundle of 3 from Dollar Tree. I've had this for a while and I'm trying to use it up because I have quite a bit of it. So I'm going to use 3 strings of twine to make the topper for this tag. Initially, I thought I would just knot 2 ends of it. So you'll see me make a knot here, but I am going to take that knot out and do something different for the tag pull. And so, yeah, I took the knot out and I am going to just tie 1 knot at the end of those strands, tie all Now it'll be, instead of 3 strands knotted, I'm going to have 6 strands of twine knotted. And maybe I could have done some type of braid or something. I could go back and do that, but I don't know. I think I'm okay with the knot. And I'm just going to trim off the ends to make it even. So I'm going to slide it down in the pocket again. Here I am just kind of snipping off the hard corners so that they don't get damaged with use. And then I'm going to take my ruler and kind of open up that pocket a little bit more so that it's not so tight when I'm sliding the tag in and out. So just checking to see how it's all going to come together on the cover. And this is a kit of different color bulb pens that I got from Amazon. I'm going to use one of the white pens in that eyelet so that I can come back later, add a tassel, add some charms, whatever I choose to add to it. That gives me a place to add some more decorative elements to the cover. So these are some shell stickers. They're 3D or layered stickers that I got from Dollar Tree, and I've actually already taken the foam tape. They are like 2 pieces of the same design stuck together with foam tape, and I've already taken the foam tape out of one set. I'm opening the other set and removing the foam so that I can use some of the smaller stickers, or they're not actually stickers, the smaller pieces on the cover. They are made out of some type of acetate, and they do have a glittered outline on them, but it does not shed. So it's some type of acetate. It is slightly translucent. You can see through them just a little bit. I've already used some on the pages on the inside of this journal, so I thought it would be good to use a few on the outside to tie that in with the inside pieces. I'm using Fabri-Tac glue to attach these to the frame. Again, these pieces I believe are some type of acetate. And when you get these 3D or layered stickers from Dollar Tree, you usually can take them apart. If you're careful, you can pull the foam tape off of the pieces and use them individually, so you end up with more pieces to use. So I'm just placing the shells down. So I also have these white pearlized sequins. They're fairly large, probably a 1/4 inch, maybe slightly larger. And I thought they looked like fish scales a little bit. So I'm adding these to the cover as decorative elements as well. And then I almost forgot about this, but I did buy a jar of shells from the Dollar Tree. They have different varieties, and I picked this bottle up for this project specifically. And so I've already placed them down where I want them to be, and I'm going to go ahead and use the hot glue to add those to the cover topper as well. So not only do we have the acetate shells, we have real shells on the cover. So I had a few empty spaces. I'm coming in again with a few of the flat back pearls to fill those spaces. And that is it for the Coastal Journal topper so far. If I do anything more, I'll come back and share it with you, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, you may be interested in these other videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.